everybody. How is everybody doing? Welcome to Transgurus again. How is everybody doing? So we were talking about, different things, and we chose one which I think is very interesting, which is called inspiration to continue. It's so important what, how we feel and the inspiration. Where do we get our strength? So with those words, who want to go first? Jimmy, do you want to go first?
Sure.
Perfect.
So good to see everybody. Raji, we missed you last week.
Oh,
And
Yeah, we
I
did.
think we have a really great group here, and we're going to start off talking about the inspiration to continue, but who knows where we'll end up at. So, what motivates us to do the things that we do? And I wanted to talk about, we live our lives in such a way that when every day that we wake up, we're new and improved version of ourselves. And that has to do with self-improvement, physically, spiritually, mentally, financially, cognitively, all ways that a human can develop if we commit a little bit of time each day to improving all these parts of ourselves. Every day that we wake up, we'll be in a new and improved version of ourselves. So that adds a certain level of excitement and anticipation. And it all revolves around the prospect for a better tomorrow. So if we do the same thing every day, are we going to expect a different result? So again, I'm in the roof of the parking garage at LA Fitness. Every workout that I do, I try to do a different exercise and add a little bit of weight. So there you can maintain in the gym, or you can grow. So if you're going to maintain, you just kind of do the same thing over and over again and you'll maintain. But if you want to grow or lose weight or gain weight, you're going to have to do something different. And if you want to grow, you're going to need to push yourself beyond what your limit was yesterday. And the whole idea between the inspiration to continue to what? Continue to where? We all humans, to have a balanced life, need to have goals and aspirations and dreams. And that's what motivates us to do what we do. And myself, I have goals and aspirations, spiritually, physically, mentally, financially. So I live my life in such a way that the forward increments may be small some days and larger other days, but as long as I feel a sense of progress, I'm motivated to continue. And I think there's three things for a person to experience that live a fulfilled life: something to do, something to love, and something to look forward to. So if we have goals and aspirations that are in our life, that will satisfy some of those needs for a human to have a balanced life. And I'm looking forward to discussing this further with my guru friends, Ella.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, you said something which is very important. Continue does not mean go like that. It mean can go upwards or can go downwards or whatever. But the inspiration to continue, usually, I think it's upwards and to fulfill whatever you want. Raji, would you like to go?
I guess. Hi, everybody. So, wow. When I think about this, I think this is one of the absolutely most important things for one to truly feel alive. Because I know in my journey, there's been moments where I felt like lackluster about my life and my progress. And, if Jimmy was saying about, the whole thing of being encouraged to like continue and making plans for the next day and that sort of thing and feeling like you made progress. And I know there's been a number of times where, not to say that I was sitting on my behind not trying, but just moments where I felt like, God, I don't seem like I'm getting anywhere. And that feeling brings on, for me, depression, a melancholiness about life, uh, wanting to give up, the feelings of what's the use, and feelings like that. To me, it puts you in a zone where, yes, you're living, breathing, you're alive, but you're not really alive. It's almost like you're the Walking Dead, or you're like a zombie. You're just kind of like, shuffling through to get to the next day. But if you don't have things that, you like, plans and things that you have to look forward to, if you're not stimulated by something and motivated by things in your life, you will have that, like, what is my life for feeling. And I know that for me, I mean, everyone is different, and I'm sure there's variations of that, but I know for me, it's very important for me to feel like I have purpose. It really is. That's like so important and so key to my mental health, my physical, my emotional, my spiritual, just me as a human being. And I think I operate the most effectively, like I live the most vibrant when I have plans, and I'm working towards something. And if you notice in life, for most people, maybe not everyone, but for most people, we set a goal, we work towards it, we attain it, and most people don't say, okay, I got what I want. I'm just going to go sit down and, watch TV for the rest of my life. No. What do most of us do? We're planning for the next thing. Okay, I got that. Now, what do I want to get next? What do I want to achieve next? And that's the whole thing of growing, being able to grow and evolve and not feeling stagnant. That stagnant feeling can really put someone under, put someone under. And so, um, thankfully, in my life's journey, I haven't had too many moments like that. But when I have had those moments, it's scary because I love life. And I know that each and every one of us here on the planet is here for reasons. The mere fact that we were born into life, we are here for a purpose. And so I think it's key to try to like connect with that. For me, it's my activism. I believe if I didn't have my activism, I think I would probably not be in the vibrant, happy, positive space or place that I'm in. Not as much as I am. Ella, I'll continue. I'll have some more to speak about it, but for now, I'll send it back to Ella.
Yeah, absolutely. You are a very active person, and your activism towards our transgender people, which is very, very positive and worldwide known for that. And that we
Oh,
thank you very much for that, Raji. I think
thank
it's really incredible. Yeah.
you.
Mrs. Bobby.
Oh, it's funny. The topic kind of stumped me for a while, and sometimes I think about the people that are watching this video, and I'm so grateful for each one of you because you've got such a different point of view and place that you've come from, and something to contribute. But I kind of began in a really dark place because um, I, um, being born and raised in the deep South on the buckle of the Bible Belt and all of that stuff, I was just filled with kind of enculturation that, and oh my gosh, I spent years in conversion therapy, and all of that stuff was just making me more and more suicidal and self-loathing and all of that. Ugh, yuck. And I really was in a bad place. And it probably should come with the trigger warning, because it's like, yeah, I was seriously in trouble of calling it quits too early. And it's like the your assistant. Well, I'm scared to death. I'm going to lose this. I'm going to lose this. I'm going to lose this. Everybody's going to be better off without me. I'm going to be better off without me. And all of this stuff you do to get yourself in this really dark place. Uh, and a lot of people can't make it out of there. But what happened to me was, it was like, wait a minute, if I end myself, I'm going to lose it all anyhow. So I was like, I might as well try this. I mean, what's the worst that can happen to me? I'm on a path to lose everything anyhow. And that's kind of where I finally found the courage to say, I've got to do this. I've got to do it. And I know I'm going to be the recipient of a lot of disgust and hate and, boy, name all of that junk. But it's like, well, at least I'm trying it. And what happened was, I maybe did lose 80% of who I thought were my friends and family, but the 20% that remained, and that was wow, was that a surprise? It's like the people that were really happy for me, and people that wanted to be supportive and 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 kind of understood it and all of that stuff. And so it 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 was a real surprise. The people I thought would be there, the people I expected to be, that I needed the most of them failed. They weren't there. And people I never expected to be there, just all of a sudden they materialized. And um, and that was like, that was a huge discovery. That was a huge discovery to me. And to just have to just have people in that situation that wanted to love me more, wanted to support me more, were real happy for me, that wanted to spend more time with me, for heaven's sakes. And all of a sudden, I had the best friends I'd ever had, uh, because I never really had any close friends before that. I had to keep everybody at arm's length. You can only know me so far. You can't know this part. And so I never, of course, you can have really deep friends and relationships and things like that if there's a part of you that's just off limits. And that's kind of where I was living. So that was really refreshing. It was kind of like coming out of the pressure cooker, and it was like, wow, I think I can do this after all. And 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 pretty soon, um, I remember going through lots of changes. My marriage imploded. For 35 years, we had been through everything, and I even told her before we got married what was going on with me and all that stuff. But back then, everybody thought, "Oh, great sex life, marriage, that'll cure everything." There's a lot of gay men that fell for that too. Yeah, get married, that'll fix you. Oh gosh, that is, and it didn't, of course. Um, but it was. I remember all I did was change my definition of companionship. It's like, well, I may never have. My marriage was gone. I may never have another physical, intimate relationship like I had. But companionship, it's like, oh my gosh, I got the best friends I've ever had. And that really inspired me. It was like I was really happy. And it was like, wow, maybe I can do this after all. And My employers, oh my gosh, my employers they just, yeah, sure, come on, let's do this. And it just made it really easy. And so um, it, just that act of coming out and deciding that I've got to do this before I kill myself. I've got to try this because the trajectory I was on is like, what do I have to lose? It's like I was on a path to lose everything. And so anyhow, um, it was a great surprise, and just that small group of people who know and love and support and accept me and want to be around me, want to be my friends, want me to hang out with them. Oh my gosh, that really put me on a path to get started, and anyhow, just everything got better real fast. I did lose a lot of stuff, but it wasn't catastrophic, and so I found myself in a really good place. And before long, it's like, gosh, I've never been happier than I am now. I've never been healthier than I am now. I've never felt more abundance in life than I have now. Even after I'd lost everything, it was like, boy, but I love what I do have and what I've got to work with. And so um, that I don't know. That was I'm sure I'm not the only one that started from a deep hole like that. But that's kind of how I got out of there. But it's really just the people who wanted to be even better friends than ever. Those are the ones that really helped me see that maybe I can do this after all. And my gosh, I'm so glad I did, because um, I almost missed out on my best life, and I'm so grateful that I didn't fall for that crap. And so anyhow, I better stop there. But I love hearing everybody's perspective because we've all kind of come from different places. So anyhow, back to you, Ella.
Yeah. Inspiration to continue. Yes, the people around you are very important too. I have to tell you, when I transitioned, and still today, um, sometimes I am people which probably didn't mean so much to me before actually started to mean a lot. you know, it was very interesting. Although I have to say, I'm very privileged because I didn't lose too many people. Some of them, yeah, but not much. I kept most of my friendships, and I do know people all over the world. And although I know that many people are, which I haven't seen for a long time, and they come back to me and congratulate me, and very often they just want to see, oh, what happened? What's going on around here? And but many of my very dear friends, and some of them are for over 50 years, they are still there. They are still there. But inspiration to continue is not only for us to continuing our trajectory as transgender people, it's in every single thing. Raja was talking about stagnation. Nobody likes stagnation. That's clear. But sometimes, you know what? It's 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 necessary to stagnate a little bit to come to yourself, to understand, your heart. Sometimes you go too fast, and sometimes you have to, phase yourself. I mean, important is that you feel good and that you know where you're going to, and you connect to your inner feelings and say, yes, this is what I have to do. This is what I feel good about. This is me. And, nobody else can lead your life. You're the only person which can lead your own life. Sometimes, it's tough. Sometimes it's tough. Things don't come the way you want. But, in the end, they always come the way you want. And if they don't, it's probably there is another reason for it, you know? Today I had planned something, and afterwards I had to stop my plan, and because I was supposed to have a meeting, and in the end the meeting didn't happen. Well, can happen. You know, I used that time to do other things which I actually wanted to do and needed to do. So uh, it was very positive in the way. Um, I mean, I'm going through a hell of a lot of things right now, so I enjoyed to have this little pause from that. But that's life. Sometimes, you know, things change the way that they want, but don't forget where you want to go. Because where you want to go, it's what your heart tells you to. That is so important. And there's a very important, you know, trajectory. And it is, you know, your inspiration is nothing else than what your inside feelings are telling you. It's what's inside you. Let it out, and it will come by itself. I mean, that's my point of view. Well, but it's a beautiful life. Yeah, you have to concentrate. Um, you know, I always try to have some kind of routine, which every day I have one very important thing, and it's my daily win. It's not a big win or a small win or whatever. It's just that little spice of salt which makes me feel good. My small daily win. It can be just that I actually cook something special. It can be that, you know, I get a really good place in my business, or I've talked with someone which I haven't seen for such a long time, or I go out and do something crazy. But it's that little daily win which gives me the inspiration, which gives me the, you know, my feeling good. I think this is, for me, it's very important.
Mhm.
Sometimes the daily win doesn't come automatically, but you know, it always comes. So that's how we function. Any comments?
Well, I have to say, Ella, oh my God, that is a wonderful way. That whole thing about finding one daily win, one gem, one thing for you to say, yes, you know, this is an accomplishment, or yes, this was the spark in today's experience for me, is a wonderful way, I believe, to get to the next day, especially when things are really hard and you can't really see your way to the next day and to the day after, and so on and so on. To be able to look around and find that blessing, that daily win. I love that. I just had to comment more about that, because I think it's an excellent tool that we can all use, to do that, to be able to find that thing that gives us hope, so that we can continue to the next day, because it's not always going to be, oh, I'm going to get this done and I'm going to get that done and setting all this goals. Sometimes we're so in the trenches and in survival mode, we can't even see to, like I said, getting to the next day. So in that present moment, being able to look around and finding something, a gem, to hold on to, it's powerful. It's
Yeah,
powerful.
yeah.
You know, you were talking about goals and attaining your goals, and you know, it's very powerful to have goals and attain your goals, but it's very dangerous too, because after you finished your goal, you see sometimes athletes which were absolutely fantastic athletes, and they achieve their goals of being Olympic or whatever, and afterwards they have mental health problems. Why? Because they don't have that win, want to win. I think that's my point of view. But very often they've got problems in their own life because they lost their goals, and they probably not replace the new one as fast as possible, you know.
Wow.
I'm glad you mentioned that too, Raji and Ella, because it reminded me of Peter Drucker did a lot of writing and motivational stuff, and he was talking once about an emergency room group of physicians in Chicago that was working with that organization. And when they ended their shift every day, you know, that if you can imagine what a trauma unit, ER unit in downtown Chicago might see every day, day in, day out, it wears on you. And but at the end of every shift, they would get together and just, what's one thing that you did really well today? And to just remind yourself, you know, that, you know, maybe, you know, you can imagine what goes on there, but there's always one thing you did really well today. And it's sort of that same idea.
Yeah. Jimmy, would you like to tell something? Let's you know, let's
Sure.
finish.
So, in the absence of the inspiration to continue as a species, we'd all still be living in caves. So the inspiration to continue provides for the opportunity for improvement in all aspects, individually and as a community and family. So we all have a need to contribute. Are we an asset or a liability to the planet? I love Ella's daily win. So I think one of the things necessary for a human to feel a sense of fulfillment in their life is a sense of accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one of these videos several years ago when Bonnie was on our panel. She was talking about if we just move 1 inch every day, over a year, it turns into a mile. You know, so the increments may not be noticeable. That's like I'll use fitness as an example. You go to the gym one time, you're not going to see anything. There's not going to be one bit of difference. You go to the gym 100 times, you're going to notice a difference. You go 200 times, a greater improvement, and so on and so on. So that's kind of how a lot of these uh, activities that we engage in are an investment in the future. A lot of things that involve self-improvement don't have instant results.
No.
You know, it's an investment in the future. And if we just engage in activity that we improve ourselves every day over time, we'll create a whole new human. And like I've said many times in these videos before, our future self exists outside of our current comfort zone. So we need to grow to meet our future self. And the inspiration to continue should be the motivation to do that. Otherwise, I just know that uh, another thing too. Um, I don't know who said it, but all of us need a sense of purpose.
Yeah.
Like, do I make a difference? You know, can I make a difference in someone's life? And I think there's a universal principle. It says, um, how you make yourself happy is to make someone else happy. You know, by contributing, and that's one of the things that motivate myself and probably my fellow panelists to participate in these podcasts is the potential to be able to help others. Um, the journey of a transgender person is not easy. And if we can offer guidance and experience and knowledge and wisdom to our folks in our tribe, I'm going to do it.
Yep.
And because all of us, I think, have a vast library of wisdom that this platform offers an opportunity to share.
Absolutely.
And so that this gives me a sense of purpose, that I am an asset to our, not only our community, but our planet. Ella.
Absolutely. Raj, your last words?
Sure. Well, listen, I swear, we pick a topic every week and we just dig in. We don't, none of this is scripted. We just say, okay, this is the topic, let's go. And it's wonderful how organically we each share our opinion, our experiences, and it just turns into, like, I don't know, I just think a masterpiece, because we all bring something to the table for someone out there who will resonate with it. So I just want to encourage our viewers, and say this, that, life is life, and there may be things that happen along the way that aren't, so very nice. Traumatic experiences, an encounter with someone that's not very nice, or whatever it may be. But it can be the thing that sparks you into finding purpose, finding more of your purpose, and continuing into the future. And I'll share this real quick with you. I have had 3 physical beatdowns in my life by guys who targeted me because of my femininity. And one particular time, I was pulled off of a city bus during rush hour and beaten up by 5 guys in front of about 50 people. No one did anything to try and help me. And that day, not only was I physically broken, but I was mentally, emotionally, and spiritually hurt. I was. In that moment, I didn't think that I wanted to go on. But and I'll just throw this in, with us trans people and any group of people that maybe aren't considered to be the norm or the mainstream, people will sometimes target you. And for me, it was almost like they wanted to beat my identity out of me. But we all know that's not possible. You can't, that can't happen. And so I felt what I felt in that moment. But then it was almost like the spark I needed to then go full force with my activism and to be even more determined to thrive and to flourish and to shine in this world. So I'm sharing that one incident. There's a couple others, but I wanted to share that with our viewing audience, because that is something that you would think when you hear it, oh my God, like that would have just destroyed me and made me want to, like, just give up. Well, in the moment I felt those feelings, but looking back at it, no, it was the very thing that gave me the persistence to keep going. So sometimes those quote unquote bad experiences in life can be the thing that just catapults you. It catapults you. And Ella had made a comment about, being in stagnation. I want to use this example. When you watch the games, the Olympic Games, and I forgot the name of the sport. I think they're vaulters, where they jump over the beams. Listen, I'm not very athletic. What are they?
Pole vaulting?
Yeah, pole vaulting. Thank you. I'm not very athletic. But do you notice what, in order for them to do that, what do they have to do? They have to take some steps backwards so they can make that extraordinary leap. So, it's a journey. And I think if we remember, like, to embrace the moment and know that it's not a destination. And I think that's where a lot of people make an error when they think, oh, once I get here, it'll be this and I'll be, fully complete and whole and all. But no, no, no. We continue to grow and evolve, and it is a journey. Ella?
I totally agree with you. It's the journey never ends, and we hope that well, one day it will end anyway, but to everybody, but hopefully not.
Ella, I'm
Although I have to
sorry.
tell you this,
I'm sorry the way you said it.
although I have to tell you this, it ends in our perspective as leaving people. But is there something behind?
You know what? I'll just say this real quick. I've heard this before. Death is not a period, it's a comma.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Bobby.
Oh. Oh gosh, we've talked about so much tonight, and my ADHD is in overdrive. So I was like, oh, this and that. But when Raji mentioned activism, so yeah, I am too. Um, but the group that I'm really after is we are. I think trans people, non-binary people, are are very spiritual beings. And they have been throughout world history. They were the shamans, they were the oracles, the witch doctors, or the diplomats or ambassadors, the peacemakers. They had very high status positions, and they were very spiritual people. And I sense that among us too. But there's this religious stuff that is trying to kill us, that wants us to disappear. And I just happen to have it. I picked this book up last week, "The Hidden Roots of White Supremacy and the Path to a Shared American Future." And this has been rocking my world because I have wondered about that forever. Like, what makes white people think they have the authority to take whatever they want and enslave whoever they want? And so anyhow, all this is going in there. But what is the real eye opener here? And you'll like this. It started when Portugal began to colonize the world, and they sought some guidance from the Pope about, well, what do we do? And here's all this land, and there are these monarchs with armies and ships and navies, and look at all of this world that's there for the taking. And it goes back to an authorization back in the 1400s from the Pope about, um, no, these are discovered lands. We are supposed to bring Christianity to those things, and anybody that doesn't accept it is an enemy of the cross. And if they don't buy into it, you can kill them. That was really, and that's what's in here, the doctrine of discovery, that edict. And it's verbatim what the Pope's charge to the monarchies. And it's but what is really awful though is how all of this stuff was perverted into just this religiosity and this white supremacy and all of these other things. And so I'm really, because I live in the Bible Belt, because it is destroying so many lives of young kids and everything else. And I work with those kids in treatment facilities where they've attempted suicide and things like that. And so I'm really, really, it's like this cannot persist. This just cannot, because we are spiritual beings and we're all called to be that. And there's this toxic kind of flawed religious stuff that has been used to manipulate and control and to enrich monarchs. Anyhow, it's a great read. And if there's anybody else that kind of struggles with activism and what do we do about all this hate? This is a book that's just really helping me a lot because I've suspected a lot of that stuff, but I didn't know where the documents and the evidence and everything else is. And so I think um, my bottom line is I think you all are very spiritual people. I think most of us are or are becoming that way. And we've got a lot of unlearning to do along the way because we have, especially if you live in the Midwest and South, you've been force fed a whole lot of toxic stuff that is very harmful. And that's got to stop. And so I'm with Raji in terms of the activism. And what it looks like for me is just a little bit different because I'm really going after the people that think they're doing God a favor by hurting us. And so that's got to stop. And that's what I do. Uh, but anyhow, that's the sort of same thing Raji was talking about just getting beat up and left to die. And it looks different, but to turn that around and say, no, you had a good heart, but you've really been mistaught, and now I would like to help you unlearn some of that stuff and become a more spiritual person instead of a hater.
Bobby, I just have to say, coming, what you just said, coming from a white person, a white American person,
Mhm.
is to me so profound because, you know, it's for you to be able to like really break that apart, being a part of, not saying that you went along with it, but coming from that and
Mhm.
being able to see that, wait a minute, this stuff it's no good. It's not good. This isn't a good thing. And like trying to really break it down. You know what I mean? I think that's just awesome.
Yeah,
I think Jimmy had to go.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I
Me
just
too.
want to tell that if you want to talk about history, I mean, I'm fascinated by history. And
Mhm.
I mean, it's really very interesting. And my grandfather
Mhm.
um, was living in Africa. He wrote many books about Africa and Black people in Africa. One of the books that he wrote is called Africa Bantu, which is a description of all the African tribes.
Mhm.
And my grandfather um, married a Black woman in 1938. And he was, a colonizer from Africa,
Yeah.
which made, which make me my skin a little bit darker.
Mhm.
And I am very proud of my partly African origins. Um, but it makes us better. It makes us. I mean, sorry, mixture is like that. But don't forget, slaves were not always black. Um,
Right.
as a matter of fact, slaves come from the word Slav, which means people from Slavia, meaning the white people from the
Mhm.
eastern part of Europe.
Right. Yeah.
And they are white, and they are
Right.
rich.
That's one of the other documents in here. It was a papal edict. It was like if they refuse to accept our brand of Christianity, you should reduce them to perpetual slavery.
Correct.
And it just, are you kidding me?
Uh,
And people bought into that and said it's okay. Pope said it was okay, so let's do it. I can't believe it. And so I'm horrified by the crimes committed in the name of religion, and it hasn't stopped.
yeah.
And we're not going to get any better until it does.
yeah.
And that
Uh,
whole thing, that Pope, that from that Pope giving his blessings and saying that, oh my God, what it did to the world.
Yes,
Because that launched like hundreds of years of
yes.
slavery. And here in America, it was chattel slavery.
Mhm.
So, you know.
Yeah,
Anyway,
but it's this whole idea of white supremacy, and we have all the answers, and cisgender heterosexual stuff. It's like, no, that's not the
Yeah.
way the world has always been, and you need to learn a
This,
better way.
this was founded by, by the conquistadors, the people which went all over the world and conquer all the
Yeah,
things.
yeah, exactly.
And
Colonizers.
the colonizers are the British, the Spanish, and the Portuguese. And
Yeah.
the talking
Oh,
about
and don't forget the French.
And the English, don't forget
and
the
the English were the world. The English were the
Yes,
world.
the very King James that gave us
Yeah.
the King James Bible that is a colonizer. That's why we have Jamestown, Virginia, and the James River. He sent
Yeah.
them all there.
And this is my thing. It's one thing to want to explore and go around the world and create alliances and partnerships.
Mhm.
It's another thing when you're given an excuse to go rape and pillage and kill people and take over land. That's two
Name of
different
God.
things.
The name of God, by the way.
Yeah, and the name
Exactly,
of God.
exactly,
The name
exactly.
of God, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We
Well,
learned
anyhow, it's a new topic for tonight. Oh, there's one other thing I wanted to say. I'm not drinking the beer.
hours talking.
See,
This is
anyone that's not trans. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bobby. What were you saying?
I'm just saying, I'm not drinking the beer. Oh, this is ginger ale.
Okay.
And I would say, anyone that's not trans, can you believe it? We transgender people actually have some profound thinking going on.
Anyway, bye everybody.
Bye-bye, bye-bye.
Great weekend. See you guys next week. Love you all.
Love, peace, and blessings.
Okay, let's see. Leave. Oh, wow, I didn't